Welcome back. I'm Ann Hayes, aka Mama G, founder of this channel and creator of Fiercely Fulfilled Feminine, where I empower women through sacred sexuality to become fiercely fulfilled. And today's topic is a big one. It's been ringing, ringing, ringing in my ears. It's been coming up in my experience in so many different ways. And we got Mother's Day coming up here in the US of A this Sunday. And so I thought it was very appropriate to talk about this finally. You see, we're not just dealing with the mother wound individually. We are dealing with it from the micro to the macro collectively. In fact, this includes planet Earth, which is a consciousness representing the divine femininity, birthing us alongside our collective humanity into a higher octave of consciousness. Yeah, we can go that deep. So what I'd like to focus on today is especially how the mother womb can affect or interfere with any true intimacy. And it's not just intimacy and romantic connections, it's connection with others, relationships, connection to yourself, and even connection to the divine and a big God altogether. So I'd like to talk about that, how that can show up, because it may surprise you how that can actually show up. And you may actually have a mother wound or a deeper layer of a mother wound that you might not have even been aware of, like it had shown up for me. I'd like to talk about the echoes of that trauma, the connection between specifically the heart and the sacral chakras. And I'd like to talk about something known as Sabrosura, flavorfulness, a word that doesn't exist in English, and maybe it should, okay? And also share a very powerful somatic technique just to kind of begin to open things up and to activate another layer of healing that mother wound. Now, of course, if you're here within this resonance, you are already being activated. So that's the beauty of how energy functions. So let's get right to it. So the mother wound. The mother wound is essentially any experience or series of experiences where you did not get what you needed. You were not nurtured and you were not loved and comforted in the way that you needed, especially as a child, as a baby and as a child. And as a result, you developed core wounds around feeling neglected, rejected, abandoned, not loved, not appreciated. Like, what is going on in this world that I'm not receiving the love that I should? What's wrong with me? This is just not a good life. The world is not safe. And that's a very, very deep wound that can, like I said, affect many areas of your life, especially with intimacy. And it does have the sexual energy does come into it, and you'll be like, oh, wait a minute, my mother's sexual energy, unless she abused you specifically in that way, you might make that direct connection. But I'm going to tell you what, right now, there is a connection for anyone who's experiencing a mother wound that does involve sexual energy. Remember, that's creative life force of the universe, okay? And it does involve the sacral chakra. It is just not about the heart. So there's a lot of focus on the heart chakra whenever we heal any type of trauma. And that's an important one because what happens, trauma a lot energetically causes one to shut down or close down the heart. And that closes one down to not just intimacy, but all of the beautiful experiences that life has to offer us. And so it does play a part. And that's why I'm here to mention that, because nobody really talks about this. And yet it does need to be talked about, because when we have the awareness, when I share this with you, that little aha might be all that you need to heal that deeper layer. And then to show up, or to get somebody to show up for you to make sure that you unpack that next layer or just get rid of it for good. And seeing as we've got Mother's Day coming up this Sunday in the US of A, I think that this is more than appropriate to share right now. So, mother wound, how does that come about? Well, a mother is the one that gives birth to you. Yes, you grow inside that womb. You were nurtured by the mother. You were sharing energy. You were sharing physiology. You were sharing emotions. You were sharing all of it. And it's that energy of the sacral chakra, which is where the uterus is in the womb is located. You were birthed, hopefully, if it was done naturally, through the vaginal canal. It is all connected intentionally, divinely orchestrated and templated. You see, a mother automatically and giving birth or just preparing for birth and pregnancy, there are these hormones that are released, oxytocin, a bonding hormone, okay, that is released that automatically causes your mother, or should, to just, when you show up in the world, or when you begin to show up in that womb, just to want to love on you, to caress your face, to gently squeeze those cheeks, and just to cool with delight. And you cool right back because there's just so much unconditional love there. Okay. And typically that's how it is. It doesn't always happen that way. So sometimes the mother wound happens right out the gate. Maybe it's a C-section. If you were born via a C-section, I'm going to tell you right now, you came abruptly into the world. You did not have the option of making your way gently through that vaginal canal, coming through the cervix, which is an energetic portal of manifestation, okay? And then birthing in the divinely natural way of doing it. Now, if you were birthed via C-section, that's okay. There's always a way to heal it. But I'm telling you right now, that is one way that you may have experienced the mother womb suddenly and abruptly coming into this existence and physical manifest fully into physical manifestation. And clearly there would have been a different level of distress on your mother if you were birthed in that way. And there is a longer recovery period. So there's all these little issues that come around that. So that's number one right there. Now, the other way that there are all the other ways that can come about. Some of them are very obvious. If your mother abused you in any way, just beat you up, or talk to you in a very negative and unloving way. Maybe they were addicted to drugs. Maybe they were depressed. They couldn't really give you the attention that they could. You were neglected. You weren't provided for. Okay. A lot of different ways it can show up. However, you could have a very nurturing, kind mother who provides for your basic needs. And you know on some level that they love you, but at the same time you doubt it, and yet still have a mother wound. You see, because if and I alluded to this, if your mother experienced some level of stress, whether it's financial stress or relationship stress or loneliness or depression or mental challenges or just general worry and fear and anxiety, that energy is something that is transmitted to you. That energy is transmitted to you. And it could be that same stress and worry that can interfere with your mother's ability to provide for you in the way that you really need to be provided for. So yeah, you need basic shelter, you need food, you need clothing, you need healthy food, you need to know that you're safe. You need to know that you're safe. And if your mother, for whatever reason, is dealing with her own trauma, so let's bring in your mother's trauma, ancestral trauma, whether she's consciously aware of it or not, is projecting that onto you. And if it's especially sexual trauma, then you are carrying that level of trauma, whether you've been ever sexually traumatized or not. You can actually carry the wound of that trauma, and that is a mother wound, mother womb, mother wound. Rape, abortion. If you have a mother who's been raped and they've aborted a child and then you came in, that energy is still there. That energy is still there. If your mother has not processed it and has not healed that trauma, that unhealed trauma gets passed on genetically and is found in every single cell and in the DNA of your body, and you take on that sexual trauma, and that becomes a mother wound. And when that happens, you are not able to be nurtured or seen or felt or heard in the way that you need to be able to be vulnerable enough and feel safe enough to be able to connect with yourself and the world and others in the way that you truly deserve to, where divine is in the mix, where it's gentle and nurturing and compassionate and loving. However, trauma flips that on its head. And so for whatever reason, your mother could not love and nurture you or protect you from harm, for whatever reason, that is a mother wound. That is a mother wound. And here's the deal. The heart and the sacral chakra, like I said, are very intricately connected. So that is going to affect any kind of intimacy, including sexual intimacy. And a lot of people will say, no, I got great sex. Sex on its own, without presence, stillness, connection, vulnerability, the ability to express how each partner desires to experience this sexual encounter, is not going to bring divinity into the mix, is not going to allow for any true intimacy. In fact, there are many of those who have experienced sexual trauma who become hypersexual, I've experienced this as well, who look for who have that need of that connection and wanting to be nurtured and touched and felt. Because we're going to get to that Sabrosura and that touch in a minute. Okay? It's a need. And one will seek out that need in many different ways. And one of those ways is through sex, because you get close to somebody, you get the touch. But what happens is you don't get any true intimacy. Yeah, you'll get a dopamine hit. You'll get the feel-good hormones, but you will not get the oxytocin release, which is a bonding hormone, which allows one to feel connected to others, to themselves, and ultimately to the divine. You see, a dopamine hit without the oxytocin is just what it is. It's completely physiological. It's a dope hit. Dope hit, it doesn't have any true depth. It's a lack of presence. And that's a trauma response. And I've been there, and many others have been there. And I had to release a lot of shame around that. So the first thing is, if this is you, exercise some self-compassion. Exercise some compassion for others, because it's an echo of trauma. It's an echo of the basic human need is to be loved, nurtured, received, appreciated, and to be protected from harm. You see, basic needs are great, but without love as the most important ingredient that we all need, there will be trauma. There will be a mother wound. You know, even if it's the dad that's beating up the child, somehow that mother could not protect that child. That's a mother wound. That's a mother wound. You see, if a mother is dealing with her own depression and she is not able to hug you or tell you she loves you, that's a mother wound. We need to be reminded and told that we are loved, especially as children. We need to be reminded that this world is about love, the hug, the embraces, the being held is so critically important. And there are many families that even look like that don't even have necessarily like serious trauma throughout the ancestry. And yet, because of the culture, hugging is not really a thing. Touching is not really a thing. And I know in my family, I didn't have grandparents that hugged on me and embraced me and told me they loved me. You know, it just wasn't a thing. When we greeted family members, we didn't hug. I didn't learn how to hug until I was in my late 20s when I went to Venezuela. And this woman, she's like, you could learn how to hug, honey. And she showed me how to hug, and she showed me what a real hug feels like. And it was really uncomfortable for me. And I almost started to cry. But I'm telling you, that's a real thing. That's a mother wound. I'm going to tell you right now, touch, gentle touch. Especially if someone who's been physically abused and you've been neglected and you haven't been touched or caressed, just say, oh my God, I love you, honey. You're so precious. Okay? When you don't get that, you're touch deprived. No matter how much sex you're having or not having, whether you have a partner or not, I'm going to guarantee you on some level you are touch deprived because you're not getting the real softness that allows you to truly be vulnerable and to receive fully. And so that brings us right into Sabrosura. And I didn't really get to the echoes too much, and there's a lot of other different ways that the mother wound can show up, but this is kind of just how it's flowing for me right now. And I just want to get this done and out so I can hopefully support you and move you along on your journey, because that's my number one intention. Sabrosura literally means flavorfulness. It's the flavor of life, it's sensuality, it's sacred sexuality. It's just connecting on that beautiful level of, oh my goodness, I just honor you. I love you. I adore you. It's that softness. It's not like the sketchy, like, oh, I just want to get into your pants. That's different. That's a type of seduction that has the ego in mind, that has a different agenda. I mean, or an agenda in general. Whereas the idea of Sabrosura in connecting, softness, like I see you. I see you for who you are. I see you for your divinity. I see you for your beauty. Let's just connect. Let me just touch you, or let me just give you a wink, or whatever it is. Let's dance together. Let's be intimate. Let's connect. Let's conversate. Sabrosura, okay, is a softness. It's about love and compassion and gentleness and nurturing, trusting, and so many other things. It's divine feminine energy at its best. And yet, it's very difficult and challenging, especially from the kind of culture that I'm from. And I grew up in the Northeast of the United States of America. Sabrosura, that's not even a thing. Okay. So you can see Sabrosura, especially a lot in, I would say, in Caribbean cultures, Latin America. Those are the first ones that come to mind in those warmer climates where they have this very sensual dance, and they move the body in a very sensual way, and they really recognize the importance of connection, and family is really important. Connecting is really important. People are really important. And that's one of the beauties of these cultures. Okay. That's sabrosura. And there's a reason that's in English. Okay. There's a reason that that kind of dance is it just kind of brings out one's natural sabrosura. Yet we all have sabrosura in us. We are meant to be taught by our mother and our grandmothers sabrosura. However, if there is unhealed trauma, we aren't taught that. We are taught the opposite. We are taught to close down our heart. We are taught to kind of back up a little bit. We're taught to enjoy sex, but only to a certain extent, focusing on the dopamine versus the oxytocin when we can have both. We can have it all. We can go deep, fully orgasmic and blissful. Okay. So I'm talking about true intimacy. Intimacy is allowing that softness and that sabrosura to show up. You see, hardcore sex, hardcore anything. Like I know, anyone who's been any level of, especially sexual trauma, if you're like me, you come off a little bit more aggressive. I used to be like an alley cat. I looked for conflict. I came at life hard. I really got into a lot of my toxic feminine energy and my toxic masculine energy, and I'm not going to shame myself anymore for that. Like I mentioned, self-compassion is really important. So if you're always looking for conflict because you want to make sure that you create it before somebody else can, so you could make sure that, okay, if they don't, if I act this way, in a way, I'm kind of rejecting them or giving them an excuse to reject me, even though that's not what I really want at the core. That's just a pattern that I've become accustomed to because I don't know any other way to be. And that may be you or not. And so healing the mother wound, and specifically as it relates to sexual trauma, which only compounds it, is really, really critically important in order to experience more intimacy, deeper connection in every single way. There are people, who've been together for years and for the most part seem to get along, great time on the surface anyways. But if we were to take it inside, into the bedroom or just in the house, I'm going to tell you right now, I betcha that there's something missing, that there's no true, really fulfillment there in life in general, because that's what happens with it. So I'm going to tell you right now, when I discovered this, When I started to like just gently touch myself, there are somatic healing techniques. Somatic intelligence, by the way, refers to the intelligence of the body. The body has its own wisdom. And we need to heal through the physiology, which connects us to the mind and the spirit and the emotions that need to be released so that we can truly heal. It's not just the mindset. The mindset is like I've said it before, it's like spraying dung a perfume on a pile of dung. It's just not going to do it. The point of entry has to be through the physiology, which brings that connection together. And so, like, for example, just gently and softly touching oneself, a lot of us aren't used to doing that. We haven't really thought about it. I know when I discovered this, I never really thought just how touch deprived I was. And to a certain degree, still am. And I'm learning to kind of open up and to be more comfortable with touch and physical connection in a deeper way. And starting with myself, starting with myself. I cried. I cried so deeply when I was guided to just gently touch my arm. I was like, whoa, whoa, mother wound, boom, at the deepest level. I thought I had healed it all. I thought I had healed it all. That Sabrosura, that softness, that gentleness is so critically important. So critically important. And so I'm just going to share a very simple technique. Now, I was a school teacher in my past life. And so I have the ability to be able to scaffold skills and techniques because what I've come to realize and working with others is that there are different levels of trauma. For example, if a woman has experienced direct physical, sexual abuse, and even torture, in the case that I'm thinking of, that is a deeper level, and there may be more resistance between reconnecting the heart and the sacral chakra. And they're also, versus someone who maybe, had a pretty decent connection with their mother, and yet there was a level of neglect because their mother was just too involved with her own issues or whatever it was, just busy with life. Still a mother wound, still going to be resistance. But as we heal, there are different layers of resistance. So I have come to realize that I need to kind of feel intuitively the space that I'm in, the woman that I'm with, or the woman that I'm working with. I have to feel, or have to, but I feel intuitively into what their need may be, and I'm guided as to exactly what to do. Now, I have techniques where I energetically connect the heart to the sacral chakra. I have something called priming the pump, which is to really pump up the energy in the sacral chakra related to like being able to magnetize and attract in what you desire. A lot of different techniques. However, I realized that connecting the heart and the sacral chakra is really important as far as helping to heal the mother womb. And so I have guided visualizations and other things that I do. However, I'm just going to share one simple technique, and it's going to be very basic so that it's unlikely that you're going to experience any level of resistance. And if you do experience resistance, it's okay. It's okay. You only go as far as you're ready to go, as your body is ready to release at any given moment. If you're already here today and you're listening and you've shown up, you've already been activated, you're already healing another layer simply through your intention, through your commitment to stay here and to listen to my voice and to my words and to be in the resonance of my own healed light codes. So be good to go. So I like to start with 3 deep belly breaths. And if it's comfortable, place your left hand on your heart. That's the feminine side, left side. And the right hand, which is the masculine side, on the sacral chakra, which is all about that fire energy. Okay. And just right there. And that might be enough right there. You might not even get to the breaths. It's okay. But if you think you can go further, we're going to take those 3 deep belly breaths through the nose, inhaling, and exhaling gently through the mouth. Here we go. Number 1, inhale. Feel that belly expand. Exhale through the mouth. And really make an audible sound and let that out. And if you want, it's like you can make an really soft feminine that just brings it right down to the pelvic floor. Let's do that again, second time. Oh, allow your lungs to completely empty. Let's do that one more. The power of three, Holy Trinity. So what breathing does is it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. And what that does is it automatically calms the body, it calms the nervous system, it stabilizes it. And when the nervous system is calm, you're more present. And when you're more present, you're not worrying about the future and you're not dwelling on the past and you feel safe. So there's likely to be less resistance and the ability to release whatever your body is ready to release at this time. And so at this point, if it's good right there and you feel like, okay, I'm just gonna, it's like put my hands there and feel the connection, stay right there. Or what you can do is hum. What humming does, it creates a vibrational frequency. Remember, sound is everything. Everything is sound. And waves of frequency, sound waves, which actually move themselves through your body, help to connect the heart and the sacral, okay, all of your chakras, in fact, and help to move down and shed any trauma that's held, particularly in your cervix, believe it or not, which again, if you've heard me before, is the energetic portal between the physical, the spiritual, and the physical world. That's manifestation. Okay. So you could just hum whatever way you want to hum or not. Maybe humming's not going to work for you right now. That's okay. And what I'm going to suggest is see if you can do that for at least 5 minutes or up to 5 minutes. Now, again, if you can't, it's okay. You see, it's all about intention. Now, if you can do this every single day for at least 21 days, you will experience the compounded effect of tapping in and connecting that heart to that sacral chakra. And you will experience, believe it or not, whether you consciously recognize it or not, profound healing and transformation. Just this video alone can activate you. So that's that very simple somatic technique right there. I wish you a most blessed, very, very happy Mother's Day. Love on you, nurture yourself, treat yourself in the best way possible. And what I'm going to and guide you to do is to check out those links in the comment below. I've got my link tree. I have a one-on-one coaching program that I offer. I've got a divine sex magic workshop actually coming up next month. And honestly, as a special Mother's Day gift that's good through Memorial Day, I'm actually offering a 50%, let me get that, 50% savings off my one-on-one coaching session. It's an active assistance session where I literally can, obviously it's customized. I can tap in, laser focus to you, streamline the next level of your healing and transformation, giving you the insight and the tools that you need to get you to that next step. I love you so much. I bless and honor you on this journey. Deeply and completely love, honor, and accept yourself every single day because you are divinity. Much peace and love. I pray that helps. The mother wound, let's heal that for good. Let's heal that for good. Much love. Peace. Ooh.